Okay, so now we are recording all the things in all the places. All right, super excited. Let us know how your week is going. Drop below. Guys, so Cheyenne, I've known for years. We are side sisters. I got to know her a little bit better at the Mastermind Ranch Retreat we were honored to get to go to at Maria's Ranch in West Texas. She has some amazing nuggets. And, I love that when we get to know people from within the organization, Sideline Sisters and different things, and you can just sit and I love to be a sponge, right? But the number one thing to remember about being a sponge is that you have to also wring it out. So go take all this, be a sponge, but then go apply it. Take the notes, write them down, use the things. So when you get on these Zooms every Tuesday, make sure that you're putting these things you learn into action. Getting on all the Zooms is not going to give you success. Taking what you learn and applying it is what's going to launch you into that next step. So with that, Cheyenne, I'm going to hand it over to you. I'll ask you questions along the way, but just share with us where you started, how you started this Thrive thing, life before Thrive, life because of Thrive.
Okay. Well, thanks, Amber, for having me on. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and it was so fun to connect with you. So just so you guys know, we both went to Maria's Mastermind Retreat, and I got the pleasure of staying at Amber and Jason's house and having Jason be our chef, which it was amazing. So it's super fun, the memories and the connections that we make along the way. And Amber is right. I have known her since I began in this business, which was November 2014. It's fun that we're going back to Vegas because my very first lifestyle getaway was in, I think, February 2015, and it was in Vegas. And Amber, I think that's where I met you because you knew Trisha, whom I have known my whole life. And she, obviously shared Thrive with me, and I said yes to this. But prior to that, I had turned 40. I have battled with my weight my whole life, you guys. And I really honestly didn't even do Thrive for the weight loss. My friend Trisha really didn't have a lot of weight to lose, but what she was talking about was energy. And I had a 5-year-old. I was tired. I found that I would do the bare minimum and sit on the couch, and it was not helping me be a better version of myself. I also had recently sold my baby, my business that I had developed from the ground up. I had owned it for 7 years. And one day my husband came to me and he said, look, what I did is I created caps. So we used Swarovski crystals, and they were handmade creations, and we had them all over the world. Ree Drummond, Reba McEntire had our caps. Like, it was a big deal. But in 7 years of business, I had gotten paid 3 times. And that's not an exaggeration. I was putting all my money back into my business. I was paying all my people. And one day my husband came to me and he just said, look, I know you love what you do. You're passionate. I mean, I've never seen you so on fire, but you're not helping our family. And that was a really hard conversation to have. There were tears, but I knew that what he was saying was honest and correct. And so I put my business up for sale, which in September 2014, I finalized the sale of my business, which, by the way, was for a huge loss. I never recouped what I had put into that business. And a piece of me kind of died that day. Now, we never really know why Thrive finds each of us, right? And I always say that a lot, and I've heard other leaders say it, that when Thrive found us, all kinds of things happen. But we have to be open to the experience, to the opportunity, to whatever it is. And that is exactly what happened to me. So my friend Trisha that I had mentioned earlier, I had actually seen her on Facebook in July. And I had messaged her and I'm like, so what is Thrive? And I have a screenshot of that original message, which Amber was talking earlier about keeping things. I have notes and files on my phone of screenshots of messages and things because it gives me warm fuzzies to look back at that. And if I knew now what I didn't know then, you know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy. So the first message was, what is Thrive? And I was 40 years old. So I had a lot of predetermined notions. I had tried a lot of different things that had not worked, obviously, and I was tired and just fed up with everything. So I actually purchased a sample because that was back in the days when we did a lot of that. And I threw it in the garbage because I did not follow the directions. I hated it. And she checked in with me and I just said, yeah, this is not for me. Now, one of the things to remember is that when we know people that we're talking to about Thrive, like when I first started in the business, I thought everybody I know is going to trust me and they're going to buy Thrive and they're going to love it, right? Yeah, no, that did not happen. So I was one of those people to Trisha. I was skeptical. I didn't do it right. I threw it in the garbage. Like that is literally my story. That was $25 I threw in the garbage. Fast forward 5 months, sold my business. I literally had $950 in my checking account from the sale of my business that I cleared from what I owed at that point. Now, mind you, that's not what I had invested, but that's the truth. So when I saw Trisha again and on Facebook, and I was like, all right. And again, I'm a cowgirl. So I'm a 5th generation cattle rancher. I grew up in southeastern Montana. But when Thrive found me, I lived on the poorest reservation, the poorest place per capita in the United States, the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. And I am part Native American. So a lot of preconceived notions, right? Like you can't have success from home. That's kind of ridiculous. I live in this super poor area. Who am I? Like what is going to happen with that? We sell cattle. We sell horses. Like how do vitamins even play into that? So I've had a lot of thoughts, but the honest truth is I wanted to feel better. So I reached out to Trisha again 5 months later and I said, look, I didn't take it right. I see all these other cowgirl friends of mine that are starting to love this product and I feel like an idiot, but could I please buy another sample? And this time I bought a larger sample, right? Like 7 days was going to make a difference over 4. Like I don't even know where my head was in that time, but that's what happened. And so she said, yeah, I will send it to you, but you have to promise to me that you will take it right. And so I promised. And when I got it, I had this is so funny. It's like a literally typed out sheet, nothing fancy, not the graphics that we have today. And I read the directions and I was like, okay, this is like my last ditch effort. I really want to feel better. I was struggling with all kinds of aches and discomforts in my body. I was having major issues and I needed something. So what do you want to know? I followed the directions and I am what you want to call a day one thriver. Now, most people are not that, and we don't paint that picture, but that is what happened to me. I got up, I took my capsule because I started with 1 and I went out feeding cows with my husband. And literally at 9 o'clock, I remember looking out the windshield and it was like everything was brighter. And I didn't say anything to my husband because I tried a million different things and I didn't even want him to know that I had spent money on a sample. And I just sat there and I was like, am I imagining this? Like, there's no way that I could be feeling this already. So I went along and I was taking little notes of what was happening. And literally the very next morning, I had the best night's sleep I'd ever had in my life. And so I woke up and I immediately messaged my friend Trisha and I said, all right, what do I need to do to get started? Because I'm blown away. And she's like, see, yeah, just had to trust me. And so that is what happened. And I dove in as a brand promoter. And you want to know why? Number one, I had been involved in an auto ship program that I literally had to donate blood and have a notarized letter to get out of. And I'm joking, but it felt like that. They kept taking money and kept taking money. So I was anti-auto ship. So when she said, well, as a customer, you order on auto ship. Nope, I'm out. So then I was like, okay, well, what are my other options? Well, you can join as a brand promoter. You don't have to be on auto ship. It's the lowest price, blah, blah, blah. Didn't hear anything else. Okay, well, what are my options? Well, there's, back then it was the 200, 400, 800 pack, regular classic Thrive. So how does it ship? FedEx. Oh my gosh. You guys don't know this, but on the reservation, there's no 911 addresses. So literally they just throw your box anywhere. And I was like, well, I don't want to go through FedEx, but I guess I have to. So I'm going to order the $800 package because it's free shipping. And hopefully I can intercept the FedEx guy because I had his phone number and I can figure it out. I'll tell you guys, honestly, it took 10 days for my package to get to me. And I had to drive 100 miles to go get my FedEx package, my Thrive. But I had just this epiphany and I was feeling better and better and better with my 7-day sample, right? So I ran out. But in the meantime, my friend had got me on the phone with her sponsor and she was telling me about the VIP bonuses. Well, it was November. Christmas was coming. I had sold my business. I didn't have any extra money to, feel good about or to go buy our son something really fun for Christmas without stealing from somewhere else, right? You've heard rob from Peter to pay Paul, right? Well, that's a lot what I was doing. And that's what a lot of people are doing. But long story short, I went and got my Thrive. I had started talking to people and I went after those VIP bonuses. I hit the VIP bonuses, earned my auto bonus in 23 days. I was on fire because I literally felt something. Like I felt better than I had felt ever. And I wasn't just taking something and not feeling what it was doing. And I knew everybody needed this product. The other thing is that I got connected to Paul Gravette early on in my business. Like it was at the stage of Lavelle where he was actually calling people. Like my phone rang one day and I'm like, who is this? And it's Paul, the CEO. Like what co-CEO? What happens like when that goes on, right? So that is what happened. And I earned that first getaway where I met Amber. And from there, hit 200K in 6 months, earned the Millionaire Award in 3 years. So that is my story. The other part of my story that I will share with you guys is that I was on stage at Thrivepalooza. I've been blessed to speak on stage quite a few times, but this was different. There was breakout sessions. And I don't know about you guys, but I loved the whole overview of the way that our last Thrivepalooza was held. But I had the pleasure of talking about mindset. And I shared on the screen there that I went through a terrible thing over the last couple of years after the pandemic hit. I want to say that it's women's hormones that hit me, but it wasn't. It was also major allergies to foods and things that I had never experienced. And I literally had a 0 PPA for months. And I shared that on the screen. Like I was being very vulnerable. What 200K leader do you know? I lost rank, just like a lot of leaders do. So if that's you, if you've reached a pinnacle and then you've fallen back, that's part of business. There's a lot of peaks and valleys in this business, and there's going to be a heck of a lot more valleys than peaks. But what really defines you is how you transcend to the next peak. And believe me, you're going to fall down the other side. There's going to be, business isn't going to just rise and stay there forever. It just isn't. Even if you are like a top leader in this business, you're still going to have things that happen. There's going to be family issues. There's going to be financial issues. There's going to be health issues from one way or another. If it's not you, it could be a family member. I have aging parents, there's going to be things. So what happened is I decided to get really serious about what I was doing. And I don't know what happened, but I come out of the fog. I started back. That was when the rumblings of Thrive Elite was coming out. And I have been on weight loss journeys my whole life, you guys. I had lost 40 pounds during the whole keto revolution, right? Well, that stinks. I'm sorry, but it does. You can't cut out carbs your whole life. I'm sorry, but that's my philosophy and it's working for me. So I joined back in October, and obviously Thrive Elite launched January 1, but I got started before then. I discovered something that really works for me, especially I turned 50 in July. So I understand now how the body works, how to get things to work for the body. And then I've got Thrive and Thrive Elite on board. So since then, I've lost 75 pounds. I feel better than I've ever felt in my life. My business is absolutely on fire. My passion is really helping people get started, but then also after that, helping them thrive for free. And I'm going to say something that will probably shock you. I have been in this business for 8 years and 9 months. And until probably 6 months ago, I never focused on the power of referring to people, not for my customers, because I always got resistance there. And I always felt like I was salesy and I was begging. Like I was like, oh, come on, who do you know? And I just didn't like that. But what happened different is people are loving Thrive Elite. I have customers under me who have lost 60 some pounds following what I'm doing, and they're loving their new lease on life. This is not a diet. It's a way of life, which is what Thrive is. And anywhere from 20 to 60 some pounds people are losing, and they're feeling fantastic. And the majority of these women are in their 30s to 70s, so this is not 20-year-old, metabolism that's working. So there's a lot of positives that you guys can, hinder in for yourselves. Like you can rally that up and you can figure it out. But the reality is, and the reason why I suppose I was chosen to speak on mindset is everything in our lives is connected to mindset. We may not think that way. You may never have even considered that be a possibility for you. But I'm telling you, there's going to come challenges, all kinds of challenges. And the way that you think about those challenges is really going to dictate where you go with the challenges. Because you don't just wake up one day and those challenges are gone. You have to kind of fight your way through them. You have to figure out a way to come out on top. You have to be the best version of yourself. And that's really awful when you don't feel like the best version of yourself, or health challenges came in, or something happened that you can't control, which is most of life. You've got to figure out mentally how you can hone in on those. And that is absolutely going to take you through to the next peak instead of being in that valley all the time. So, Amber, I can come up for air. I'm not sure what direction you want me to go from here, but that's a little bit.
Okay. Well, I just kind of made some little bullet notes as you were talking. One, guys, for some, because some of you on here, you're probably newer, or, you haven't heard different tips and tricks. So I love that you mentioned auto ship. And I will always say, like, from the moment we started this, I knew the fact that Lavelle didn't charge any extra money, it's free to join, refer to, but it wasn't like refer to plus a fee, so that was one thing that I honed in on right off the bat. And I would always tell people, hey, you get the best price for auto ship, but don't worry, because you can pause, change, edit, delete it at any time. You do not have to have penalties. You do not have to sell your firstborn. Because I was in a couple of those before too, where they told me, oh yeah, no, you can just cancel it. Well, then come to find out you cancel it with the penalty, So yeah, everybody is like freaking out about that. So I always say that, don't worry. There's no strings attached. It is 100% the easiest that you'll ever do. And I'm here for you the whole time. So I want to talk, before we move forward to the recent, I want to talk about small town. So living on a reservation, all the things, obviously in the middle of nowhere, right? How did you grow your business?
So obviously, I wasn't going to go out and talk to my neighbor, right? The only neighbor I had was my parents or my cows and horses, and that wasn't going to work. So honestly, we want to really, what I did is I harnessed in the power of social media. Now, I did have a business where, of course, I had a business on social media, but we're not promoting the Thrive experience on our business pages. So it was really about that personal connection. And as old as it might sound, what I honestly did was I read the book Eric Worre wrote called GoPro. That was the very first thing I did. I think I was maybe a week in the business, and I knew that I didn't really have the skills because I'd never done network marketing before. I'd sold the heck out of caps. I've sold cows, I've sold horses, but this is a whole different realm, right? Because people can see horses and cows, and you can see a cap, but how do you sell a feeling or a health item? Like, that was unknown to me. And I was a cosmetologist. I should say that I have my cosmetology license, but I had sold skincare for years, but it was touching and feeling the skincare. And right, I know my license is up here on the wall, but it's like, how do you sell that? And so the number one thing was, I wasn't going to be selling. I was going to be sharing what was happening to me in the beginning, sharing the fan story pages, and it all revolved around social media. Social media is a free way to market yourself, to market your products, to see, people are pretty vulnerable on social media. And so people would be sharing about their hurt knee, or maybe, things weren't going well and they didn't really know what they were going to do because they lost their job, or, whatever, they just weren't happy, or they were in a funk, or, you know what I mean? I look back at some of my old posts from say 10 years ago, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to delete those. Those are horrible. I would complain about the weather. I mean, how silly, seriously, how silly. I would complain about XYZ. You look at my Facebook now, there's no complaining. There's none whatsoever, because what you think about comes about, and what you speak out is your reality. So there's no room in life for any of that. Even if there is a touch of that, you can always reframe what you're thinking, and especially reframe what you're saying. Your reality becomes what you think about. So that's why positivity and mindset is such a thing. And a lot of people say, oh, positivity, you can positivity things to death. Yeah, well, I'd rather positivity things to death than negatively things to death, right? So we all have a choice in what we do, but social media is absolutely where it's at. And especially now, like, let's say you've been in this business for a while and you're kind of like, oh my gosh, my warm market is kind of, hashed out. I don't, people are, I just really don't know. Well, there are all kinds of groups to join. You can form relationships with people. No, you're not selling on that group. You're not being spammy and posting about, Thrive or whatever. You really are forming connections with people. And that is what social media is all about. It's a social online place to meet people that have similar interests of you, maybe similar pain points. And I say pain point because that's what we're kind of looking for in terms of Lavelle. We don't say the word pain, obviously, because that's non-compliant, but you get what I'm saying. And so like for me, I've gotten all kinds of new things in my life. I am a gardener for the first time in my entire life. The last 2 years, I wanted to in South Dakota, but the water in the soil was horrific. So now I'm in all kinds of gardening groups. You wouldn't believe the women my age who are in gardening groups who complain about their knees hurting because they have to, kneel over to garden. Hello, I can, commiserate with that. I can say, oh my gosh, yeah, I remember what that used to feel like. I'm also a homeschool mom. There's all kinds of homeschooling groups out there. Homeschool moms are looking for ways to make money from home as well. A lot of people don't want to sell a product. They would rather, help connect people to something that actually works. That's what this is. And it's all about how you're saying things and what you're doing. But social media, if you want to be successful on social media and you want to grow your business, you can't do it from the sidelines. You have to lead from the front. You have to post about your life. You have to put yourself out there. I don't mean you have to make dancing videos on TikTok. I'm not saying that, but hey, that might work for you. That does not work for me as a 50-year-old homeschool mom and rancher. I'm not going to be dancing around. I admire people who can do that. I'm not doing that. And I actually watch those videos because I'm enamored by what they're doing. But I would fall down probably. I just can't do that. But there's finding humor in yourself. You can make a video about that. Like, oh my gosh, I'm too scared. And you wouldn't believe the comments that would come in. Live videos, I still believe are really where it's at. Zoom meetups like this, when you can connect with people face to face. And I've heard Amber say belly to belly a lot. I've heard other leaders say that. I don't necessarily have that ability. I have a lot of customers here in the state of Montana now, and I'm starting to go to them to do these mini Thrive and Mingles to help them thrive for free. But it's an invited thing. I don't take people and say, look, I'm coming to your house. I don't do that. I'm like sprinkling it in. And it takes months, you guys. I have had months of people thriving, and just now they're starting to refer people because they have to get used to the idea. They want to see the changes in themselves. They don't want to be like me and get out and start shouting about Thrive 2 days in on the product. Most people are not like that. You never know. You might find somebody who is. But that's what I say about social media. And, make it fun. Create a community for your people. That's the biggest thing is, I think right now, especially with what our country went through over the last few years, things got awkward. We didn't want to see each other, even though we really did. We really didn't want to because we didn't want to be that person. The whole mask thing, if you remember that was like, oh my God, did we wake up on Mars? Like what happened here? So me being, redneck, backwoodsy, I don't care. I call myself the middle of nowhere millionaire because that is literally, I've created $1 million in business from the middle of nowhere because of social media. How amazing is that? You don't pay a fee to join Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, any of those. Yes, you can become verified and pay $14.99 a month or whatever it is. But what I'm saying is you don't have to do that. We're not, Reba McEntire or the president of the United States. We don't need a blue check by our name. Some people get that, some people don't. But what I'm saying is if you don't have a huge following, it doesn't matter. You want to speak to who your person is, the you in your crowd of people. Maybe if you're a female on this and you're a mom, maybe you're a mom who's tired, maybe you're a homeschool mom who wants to earn an extra income so that you don't feel like you're, stealing from Peter to pay Paul. I see Dennis on here. He's a physical trainer. How can he share his knowledge with the world to help draw people in? I see Grace, she's on my team. So from California, what can she share? She's got an incredible health journey as well. What can she share? The befores, the durings, all those things. And it is being a little bit, vulnerable in putting yourself out there. But I'm going to tell you this, of all my before and during pictures, not once was someone an a-hole about it. And I'm sorry, I kind of cussed there, but it's true. What kind of a loser would be like, oh my God, you look terrible. Like, no, that's not going to happen. They're going to go, wow, good for you. That's amazing. And you got all those comments to go back on and hit them up with a private message if you want and say, hey, thank you so much for taking time out to comment on my post. That really brightened my day. That's a conversation that person privately might go on further and say, you know what, I'm really intrigued. What have you been doing? There you go. It opens whereas someone just says, wow, you look great. You just like it. You heart it. You don't do anything. It's honestly viewing what we do on social media as a job. It really is. This is a career, answering people on social media, taking your comments and viewing them as an open invitation to privately message that person. And it's not awkward. You're not sitting there going, happy birthday, I'm going to send you a Thrive sample. I've done that before. That does not work for me. I had backlash like you wouldn't believe. You might not. You might do that and have success. I didn't. Now, if someone comments and I go to them and I'm like, hey, thank you so much, that's different. So what I have found over the 8 years, 9 months I've been doing this is social media has changed. I don't talk about Thrive on my feed anymore. I talk about TE. I talk in code because I don't want Facebook burying my posts. And that is what happens. Now in my stories, it's totally different. And if you're doing live videos, Facebook isn't going to come in there and squash your live video because they want video. This is a social visual learning experience. Honestly, video takes precedence over typed out words anymore. And if you're using a repeated graphic, it's also being hidden. So there's a lot to learn about social media, Amber, and just, I'm no expert. I've just learned on the go. And I've also learned from other leaders, which is why it's important to get on these Zooms. I mean, I don't know about you, but I literally am going to probably be on the call tonight an hour early because I'm so excited to hear from Paul and Jason. And I get text messages. I talk back and forth with Paul every once in a while, but he's had a lot of things going on. And it is amazing when all of a sudden, here we go. And the fire is back. You guys know that fall is when things really start rolling for Lavelle. This is a pattern. August, I hate August. I don't. That's when my son was born. School is back. But what I'm saying is August is a weird month. I don't know if it's just me. February and August. I'm like, can we just take those out of the calendar? Because I love January. I love, October. I love all these months. But now it's like, but what can we do now? Because there's these back to school moms and they're wanting to know what to do with their time. They're thinking about, maybe I should do something extra. Or, hey, I kind of drank a lot of margaritas and ate chips and salsa all summer. So now I kind of need to get ahead of the game before the holidays hit. And that's one of the things I'm talking about. I'm going to do a no sugar September challenge because we're going to be rolling into the last quarter of the year. And what is the last quarter of the year? Concentrated sugar. October, we've got Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. I'm telling you, you guys. So that's what I'm doing with my coaching program. I'm talking no sugar September. I might die in the process because I always have to do what my clients are doing, but it's going to be good. And a challenge is always good. Business challenges are good too. So Amber, I feel like I'm rambling, so I'll turn it back.
No, you're not. I hope everybody's taking notes. I'm taking my own notes, but I will say, so I just had this conversation with somebody else the other day and Jason was involved. But when you said August and February, I wonder if it's the cosmetologist in us that hates those months, because that is so back to school. It's right up until back to school. So like the end of July, nobody wants to do anything in July. So it's literally like that 1 to 2 weeks before school starts up to maybe the middle of August that we are just slam busy. And then it's like nothing, until it starts to pick up for fall. And in December through sometimes still mid-January, we're like slam busy. And then February is nothing. So we were just talking about just the different businesses, and who gets the ups and downs and when theirs is. And when Jason was in swimming pools, he had talked about how August and September was super busy for him because everybody had all the end of year parties and all the summer, and then their pools went to crap when their kids went back to school. So they needed them all fixed and worked on and cleaned. And I was like, yeah, mine's different, so we're talking about that. So I wonder, I'm just like, I don't like those months either. But what I will say, what I have learned with Thrive is this is where it pays to be consistent, because what you do in June can pay off in August. So I don't see as much of a decline. There is, but not as much as before, when you're staying consistent with that. So, okay, I want to touch on when you talked about groups and you said, because I know a lot of people I feel like people don't hear us correctly when we talk about groups. When you're in your groups and you have people in your gardening group talk about their bad knees, or you have people that talk about needing to make some extra income, because I have that with motocross, right? Like in the Moto Moms groups, they're like, oh my gosh, I need to be able to work on the road and da 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 da. How do you handle those posts? What do you do? What do you say?
Well, again, it goes back to social media being social. So it's engaging, number one. And you can't like comment one time and then go private message the person. Like that looks just no. Honestly, what I believe, and I've seen this saying somewhere, it's a meme or something, but we want to share a solution to people's problems. We don't want to sell a product. And that's why I believe Thrive, obviously, it's called a lifestyle product for a reason. I don't post a lot about Thrive. I post a lot about my lifestyle, but guess what's showing in all those? This is the best business card Lavelle ever gave us, because people are going to ask. I have one on my bicep today and then one on my calf. And I saw Maria doing that when we were in Texas. And I was like, that's awesome, because it's shorts weather still. And a lady, I come out of a restaurant and she goes, hey, you have something stuck to your leg. What a great opportunity to talk about it, right? But on social media, they're not necessarily going to see you. They see your profile picture, which I just changed mine to my before and after. I'm not going to hide from that. I want people to see it and go, whoa, what did she do? I'm going to message her, right? That's what we want. So if you have any kind of that, and I don't care if it's not a major thing, it could even just be a picture of you slouched over on the couch and then you walking up a mountain, or maybe you don't have anything that graphic, but you know what I'm saying? Like painting your picture in, being stagnant now, like, whoa, you're really active. And so it's sharing a piece of yourself, but you're commenting on those groups, and it might not be anything like gardening is not, that is not running a marathon, right? So it's not, but that's what's great about this. I don't want to talk to athletes. I am not an athlete. I don't know anything. Now, being a cowgirl and roping and stuff, that's athletic in its own right. But I'm not going to go to somebody who's trying to run a marathon and go, oh, well, this is how you rope. Like that doesn't make any sense. So I want to meet them where their quote unquote pain point is. So if there's say a 60-year-old grandma who can't get down on her knees to garden, she's having trouble getting down on her knees to play with her grandkids probably, right? Like I can totally identify with that. So I'm going to put her on my radar, and I have a notes section in my phone for my hot list, I call it. Those are people that I know need this product. These are people that I've sort of formed a connection with, but I haven't nailed them yet, right? Or reeled them in or roped them in, whatever you want to call them. They don't even have a free account yet. Like I have two different lists. I guess I should say my hot list is someone who's actually created the account. My warm list is someone that I'm interacting with. I know they need the product, but I got to get them that free account. And that's going to take 4 to 5 interactions before it's not weird for me to go, hey, you know, my private message, you have a question for you about sunflowers in Montana, and maybe I genuinely do want to know that because sunflowers bring in bees and that means pollination, right? So put yourself out there. Think about things that you enjoy. Horses are another thing for me. We raise colts. So I'm in all these horse selling groups. I know that when people reach 40 years and older, they are sore riding. I don't care who they say they are, and they're wanting something that's going to help them. Here's the other thing. Don't forget to circle back with people who have gotten a free account. I literally got a new customer last night that I have been talking to for 7 years. I couldn't even get her to get a free account. That before and after picture that I shared was it for her. She created a free account, didn't even tell me. I had actually sent her my link 2 years ago, and I hadn't even gotten to the point where I was like, okay, here's my website, blah, 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 because I have all that saved in my boards, on the app boards, or in my notes section. I didn't even send it to her. And she's like, okay, I ordered, I'm in. And then I was like, oh my God, what if she ordered wrong? And I hurried in and looked. She ordered perfectly, ordered Elite on auto ship. Yay. So now, you know what I'm saying? So I've had a lot of people through the last 6 months that have been free account for 6 years, 4 years, 3 years. I've had new people come in, create a free account, take a couple days, order. Like there's a process to this, and we are sharing what is going to help their issue. We are not selling a product, and it's creating that connection. The other thing that I'm kind of getting into. And it's embarrassing because I was going to get into this 5 years ago and I made this big post and I was all excited. If you guys don't know what mounted shooting is, you ride a horse and you shoot a pistol. It's full of like walnut shells, and you shoot balloons and you ride this pattern. And if you want to see something cool, Google it. There are women, I mean, they're going as fast as that horse can. So barrel racing, I'm not a barrel racer, but that's nothing. Try shooting a balloon going as fast as a horse will go. That takes some action, right? And action level, like you're going to have to know what you're doing. That's my new thing. And I was going to do it 5 years ago. Haven't done it. Now I'm in these groups and I got a new friend and I'm going to go see her next weekend perform. And I've got this on my radar. She's 60 years old. She needs this product. So you know what I'm saying? Hot list, warm list. Always realize that business doesn't happen by accident. You have to put this out there. You have to be really focused day in and day out. You can't not get back to people right away. I mean, think about this. What if you talk to someone about Thrive, you don't get them a free account, their next door neighbor starts thriving, they order, they message you, they're so excited. That has happened to me. I don't want that happening to you. So it's being excited about what we do, and it's knowing that what we have to offer is better than anything else out there, and that we are going to be the person to introduce them to this. So,
well, and I think it's super important too, to remember that people are eventually going to thrive, or they're going to know somebody else that started thriving, or they're going to take some other products. Like you don't want that either, so the more intentional you are of, I'm going to make sure everybody knows I thrive. Like that's it. And it's dripping thrive on people through your lifestyle, with your DFT or with a drink or product. I like product spotlight post, right? Because people don't know that we have more than just our 3 steps, which yes, that's the mother load. Hello. That's what makes us able to people. But we have all these other products. People want to know about collagen. People want to know about BCAAs. People have trouble sleeping, so make sure that you're introducing all that, like you said, in your stories or whatever, so that people can see, oh, there's more to this. Guys, when I've posted in my stories the picture of, I wear my HGS patch on my leg at night because I don't like something on my arm when I sleep. So I wear it on my leg and I'll take a picture and I'll be like, oh my gosh, so excited, no more sweating at night. I get so many people commenting on that story. Like, wait, what? No more sweating at night? How does that work? So those are the things that you have to remember, whether it's, oh, my hair has grown from the collagen, or, oh, my skin is tighter from Form, or, whatever, you have to put those little bits in there. So, okay. I'm trying to keep up with, because you're saying so many good things. So let's go back, because I told people, on the flyer bonus tip, how to help your customers thrive for free. So how did you shift that? Because I was same, right? I was like, well, they don't wanna, so okay. I didn't want to be salesy and pushy, but now I've kind of shifted in that, no, girl, you feel so good. I don't want you paying for this anymore.
right.
So how did you shift that and really work on getting people thrive for free?
So the number one thing I do is, as a service to my customers who are direct to me, I do a weekly Zoom twice a week. And we're doing Q&A. I'm sharing a product of the week. So I love that you said that, Amber, because I'm talking about Pink Pro. I'm talking about Boost. I'm talking about HDS, our skincare. So many people don't even know that we have, and I don't know about you, but that cleanser, oh, I look forward to that orangey citrus. I just love that stuff. So it always has to do with experiencing the product for yourself, obviously, so you are authentic when you're sharing it. So what I do, though, in those Zooms is I sprinkle in thriving for free. And I do a kudos post, for my thrivers that are thriving for free. They get little freebies from me. And, I talk about auto ship because I track people, and on that 4th auto ship, they get the little bonus gift from Lavelle, right? So whenever that happens, I make a big deal out of it. Number one, I'm always talking about the auto ship. Then what I'm doing is I'm talking to people directly. I will message them. And one of my key phrases is the only thing better than thrive is free thrive. I say it all the time. And so that is sprinkling it in. It's kind of, they're hearing me, but they don't think I'm like talking to them. I'm like, hey, you need to get people referred, because that's not going to work. But then I start talking about, I'll use examples, like when I first started getting people thriving, and then I was thriving for free. And I love doing a poster in my stories about, how many months I've been thriving for free and things like that. If you can, we have to be careful about adding dollar amounts because of compliance. But back in the day, things like that we were doing. But now it's like showing a picture of your thriving for free and putting a customer's name next to it and doing a kudos post, doing those sort of things. Congratulations, you're thriving for free. One of the things also that I provide a service, and you guys don't have to have a approved customer group, which we do obviously, but you don't have to have that. You can message people privately. You can give them verbiage, because I get that a lot from people. They're like, I don't know what to say. I provide their link to them so they can copy and paste it. And these might be silly things. You might be like, oh my gosh, that's so, elementary, but it is. But remember what you were day one? Did you even know what your link was? I didn't. So to have someone say, hey, by the way, I noticed a friend of yours, a prospective customer in my mind, but I noticed a friend commented, you're going to want to follow your newest customers. Click the follow button and put it as a favorite on Facebook if you have 2 new customers. And then, you can broach the subject of saying, hey, are you sharing that you're thriving with the world yet? No, I'm kind of scared because I don't know really what to say. Number 1, you can help them with that. Number 2, you can tell them to, follow the fan page, follow the Instagram page, because there's lots of great ideas on there. You can help them write that post. You can also say, hey, I see Nancy commented on your post. Have you talked to her about Thrive? No, I don't really know what to say. So you can have a few little, new things to say and keep it in your notes section so it's easy to give them. You can also, did you guys know when you do a Thrive and Mingle event, you get 15% off codes? You can do online Thrive and Mingles. And so I do that a lot for my customers. It's a private thing, but I'm sharing the link and they can get on, and we're talking about our, before and durings, like what has happened for us using Thrive. We weren't tired anymore. We feel amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then say, and if they attend, I've got a 15% off code for them. So maybe you have credits that you can help them with because in the end, bringing new people in, that benefits your business. It also is awesome because that person that's referring someone is saying good things about Thrive too. So it isn't just coming from you. It's kind of a 1-2 approach, right? So that's what I do, Amber. I just talk to them about it, obviously. And I always tell them, I'm not going to bother you about this. I'm not going to hound you, but the only thing better than Thrive is free Thrive. And I would love to help you thrive for free, just like I do every month. So that's what I do.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Guys, I hope you took notes on that. When we get the recording up, you can go back and listen again and write down more notes. I do that. I rewrite notes and then I go back and I put them into action. Okay, so I wanted to answer, somebody had asked this question. And I'm going to go look up her name and make sure I'm sharing the right name, but I want y'all to go kind of follow somebody on Instagram. She said, would Reels be okay over stories? My Reels get way more views than my stories do. Okay, so I want to tackle this from a twofold side. One, do not focus strictly on views. So you can have, I've seen people go viral with views, but they get 0 interaction. So just because people are seeing your stuff doesn't mean that it's sticking, so to speak. I don't know how to say that. But what you want to make sure, so like my stories get more interaction than my Reels, even though the views may be more on my Reels, if that makes sense. Because in my stories, it's straight right there for actual direct messaging, right? And the way to increase your views on stories is to go interact with other people's stories because it sends them direct messages. And then you get put in their first bar, right? So you want to do both. That's my opinion. Reels, it just depends, because I think we were talking about product. Are you getting interaction on your product reels? If you are, great. But I will say that stories, people tend to watch and actually interact a little more. So pay attention to that. It's not about views, it's about interactions and the relationship that happens from the interactions. There is, oh my gosh, what is her name? I don't know if you've seen her, Cheyenne. Her name is Colleen. No Shame. Let's see, what is it? No Shame Sales Game. She's the anti-hey girl. And her name is Colleen. I don't remember what, but she's really funny. She's funny to watch as a network marketer. She also, and you don't have to go buy her stuff. You don't have to sign up for anything. Literally, she gives tons and tons of free advice on her Instagram. Oh my gosh, what is her name? Anyway, Colleen Nichols. So her name is Colleen Nichols. And she just, all of her reels, AG, yeah, I love her, because she tells you, don't do this, like, stop doing this. Oh my gosh, why are you not doing this? You know, she really is very, very helpful. And that was just something that came into mind on that. So, okay. What else? What are we missing, Cheyenne? We've got new people. I know I get a lot of people that have been here a while, and the common message is I'm stuck. I'm not passing 40K or whatever the rank is, right? Like I can't get out of this. How do I maintain this? How do I get out of this? And I will say, and then I'll hand it over to you. The one thing with that is, I say all the time, do not focus on the next rank, or that have to be this rank. Because I know, like you said, you lost rank, and it made me think about, sometimes God pushes the pause button for us when we're not willing to do it for ourselves. And I don't know, that may be the case. That maybe he wants you to be where you are, right? I will also say, I have started this last year or so, big eye opener for me. I celebrate all the wins, not just a PPA win or a getaway earning. Like, those are awesome, but I celebrate all the wins. I have, in the past month, so over the past year and a half, a lot of this happening, but in the past month, I've had 6 old customers reach out to me and restart. And to me, like, they had ordered in like 4 years. I'm like, that's a PPA. Like, that counts for me in my mind. That's a huge win. That is 4 customers coming back, restarting, or 6 customers. I don't know, whatever. Some start with a detox, some start with elite, but like, they're coming back, and that's a win, you know? And so then you now have these customers that are, I'm able to then help them get it for free. So then that's, I can get 2 more and 2 more. So that's where the PPA comes in. But celebrate all the wins. Did you have somebody that needs this product and they haven't responded? Everything is crickets. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, I think I want to know more about Thrive. That's a win. Like, you worked on this person for 6 years. That's a win. So celebrate the wins. Okay. So Cheyenne, they're just like, I'm doing all the things, I'm doing the do, I'm not growing.
So number one, when I was talking about mindset before, you just said right there that you are failing. You just did. Now, the one thing that I will say is that we have to be honest with ourselves. So you have to have that talk in the mirror, and you have to say, okay, I'm not where I want to be right now. So what do I need to do to get to where I want to be? So you have to identify where you want to go. What does that success level mean to you? One of the best ways that I like to kickstart myself is I like to pretend that I'm in my VIP period again. So now we're talking PPA, right? It isn't 2 customers on auto ship and 2 promoters anymore necessarily. They is that specific, but I pretend that I'm in VIP 800 again. And my main goal is to get 800. But before that, I want to thrive for free. So I look at customers, getting 2 new customers, and I give myself a time frame. So I give myself a week or 2 weeks or whatever it is. And the best people to go back to for that are people who created an account who have done nothing. For whatever reason, at some point, they had enough interest to create a free account, and now they have sat there. So I don't just go and message, hey, Sally, are you ready to thrive with me yet? No, I don't do that. What I do is I go to Sally's account and I see where she's at, because God forbid we ever send a message that is really out of, like they have a tragedy in their family or, whatever. I've actually wished someone a happy birthday who passed away. Like I did that. I'm not proud of it, but I did it. And luckily a friend of mine private messaged me and said, hey, so I hurried and deleted my thing. But that happens, especially when you have contacts that you're not necessarily, you don't know. And we all have those through social media, a friend of a friend, or I don't know, somehow you got to be friends and that's what happens. So do the work, go see where they're at in life, and then reinvigorate the conversation privately or comment on a few of their pictures for a few days, and then take that step. So you can't say, I'm going to get 2 new customers today. That's unrealistic. When we've been sitting at no new customers, you feel lost, you feel stuck in your business, things are not going the way. One of the things to cure inactivity is to get active. Look at yourself too. Have that talk in the mirror. Are you showing up every day on social media? Are you sprinkling in Thrive? I don't mean you have to do a Thrive post, but maybe you did a selfie in the garden like me the other day with my DFT showing. I'm talking about growth, because it's kind of connected, right? We want to grow as human beings. We want to grow vegetables, or at least I do. So I think about what I'm doing, and there's always an end game at the end of what I'm talking about. I'm relating to people. People feel stuck. They want to grow. They want to be the best version of themselves. Maybe they want to have a before and after picture. Maybe they're feeling stuck in life. Maybe they've gained weight and they don't, pandemic pounds is a real thing, you guys. And I say that verbiage a lot because people are like, oh my God, yeah, I was fine until the pandemic. And now look at me. I don't like how I feel in my skin. It doesn't have to do with a number on a scale. It's being able to go climb a big hill with my family if I want to go hiking without dying, so it's little things like that. I just say that you have to own where you're at, but let it go. Don't look in the past and go, oh my God, once upon a time I was a 40K leader and I had, 20 auto ship customers, and now I'm, not even a 12K and I have 1 auto ship customer. Okay. That's not a failure. That's where you're starting today. And today is all that matters. What you do today determines all of your tomorrows. So what can you do? And if you don't know what to do, then go follow Amber. Amber's posts are amazing. So are Maria's, Sheila's, Susan Kaufman. I can think of so much, Starla Scribner, all these names are coming up because I just spent time with them in Texas. I have leaders on my team that I go look and see what they're up to. Dennis is a personal trainer. I'm not a personal trainer, but I want to see what he's doing. Maybe Grace in California shared something. Jennifer up here in Montana, she's always out hiking with her dogs. People love to see that. What can we share that's relatable to people? But at the end of the day, we're sharing something, a solution. We're sharing a solution for people. We're not selling a product. So.
Okay, I'm trying to write that down. What did you say? What you do today, something your tomorrow.
That's my motto. If you go to my website, like my Native Cowgirl website, that's what it says. And it's an old picture. I need to get that redone. But what you do today determines all of your tomorrows. So think about that. Business, personal, financial. If you go on a spending spree, tomorrow your bank account is not going to look as good, right? If you don't treasure the relationships you have today, they may not be there tomorrow. You tell people you love them. You never know what could happen between today and tomorrow. Your business.
Can you tell my 20-year-old that?
Well, I tell my 15-year-old that all the time, but and he gets it right now because he still listens to mom, kind of.
He doesn't listen to me. So
yeah,
I'm gonna just send him to you.
Yeah, there we go. I'll put him to work out here on the ranch shoveling, you know what, and he'll get a real good appreciation for living at your house, Amber. But seriously, work. This is work. We can't treat this like a hobby and expect it to pay out like a business. So what you do today, reaching out to your customers, following up with your existings, helping solve a solution. It all matters. Doing posts, and not doing posts just because you're obligated, doing a post because you want to be the solution to someone's problem. That's what this is all about. And following up and not letting people fall through the cracks. And, there's all kinds of things that you can do for that. I know Susan Kaufman, speaking of her, she's got a spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet, but I'm pretty remiss with my spreadsheet, just owning it. I have an app. I'm pretty remiss about that. But my sheet of paper, it's what I've done from day one. It works for me. I'm not saying it works for you. There's other apps that you can get that will help you be more efficient at your business. So be open, be coachable, be teachable, learn new methods, implement them, see if they work, if they don't. Your back office is a great place to look. Your Rolodex of business is right back there. And don't forget to touch base with your promoters too.
Yes, I love that. And I'll kind of end with that. So y'all hear, if you hear me, I say all the time, do what works for you, figure out what works for you. And I always relate it to when I was starting on my own, when I left working for somebody else at a salon and went out on my own as a booth renter. Y'all, I went through maybe 6 different appointment books. Like the style, it just didn't work. It didn't work for me. My brain couldn't compute it. And so when I found the one that worked, like it was amazing. Right. And several years in, I continue to use that same style. I bought it every year, right? Every year I bought the new one. They changed. And I remember being like, I can't do this. It had changed enough that my brain had to shift. So I say that because that's why there's 75,000 different styles of planners out there, because everybody is different. Things are going to work different. I'm like Cheyenne. I've realized that I put all the things in all the spreadsheets, but it just doesn't work for me. I am pen paper. I'm notebook. I need to write it down and follow back up that way. Other people use spreadsheets, they use apps, they use notifications. Some of that is too much for my brain. I have to keep it simple. So trial and error is your friend. It's figure out what works for you. But if the business card box with index cards, whatever recipe box thing, if that works for you, it is a great thing. If notebooks works for you, it's a great thing. If spreadsheets works for you, it's a great thing. Just whatever you do, figure out how to go do it. So if you're on a Zoom and you're taking all these notes, but you're never going back and implementing, or you're never doing any of the things we say, like, you've got to figure out what works for you. So thank you, Cheyenne. I appreciate you dearly. Guys, tonight, make sure, like she said, get on early. I am going to, I always say this is my goal, because I don't trust technology, but it is always my goal to go live in my team page with the call, because of our Canada cannot dial into any of the lines. So it is always my goal to go live on our team page. I've never failed, even when we were hiding in the closet with a tornado. So my goal is always to go live on the team page. So hopefully that helps for those of you. If you're not in our team page, make sure you reach out and get in there. Also, I know lots of team members, other leaders, sideline leaders are bridging their lines. Just make sure you're dialed in early, or you know where else to go. So thanks again. Thanks, Cheyenne. Guys.
Thanks,
Happy
Amber.
Tuesday.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.